Aspirational for St Andrews Boat Club and Edinburgh. Tightly run affair at the moment. St Andrews closest to your picture, but Edinburgh just leading this one by about half a length at the moment. So we might postpone those results because this race is quite intriguing to watch as it comes down the course.
You know, very tight between both the crews here. It looks like Edinburgh were winning it, but now it looks like St Andrews University are definitely stepping up their game and starting to bring that level between them.
Yes, this St Andrews crews are actually bronze medalists in the women's intermediate Cox Fours at Bucks Regatta, so a pretty decent crew in their own right. It remains to be seen whether or not they can get the better of Scottish opposition. Edinburgh Boat Club, of course, renowned for producing world-class athletes across the board and across the rowing university spectrum. They've fed quite a few athletes into the GB system in the last few years, and right now they've got 3/4 of a length.
Yeah, still a very close race between these two, though. Much closer than most of the other races that we've been seeing today, Tom, I think. Most of them has been a clear win right from the start, whereas here, still racing pretty much almost neck and neck, really.
Yeah, I always enjoy watching Edinburgh race. Fierce competitors. They always contest every battle, even if it seems like it's a race that's run its course. You can guarantee they'll be giving everything up until the line, but right now, looking like they're quite relaxed, quite composed with that long, lengthy stroke, and every time they put that blade in the water, they're just inching out.
Yeah, they certainly look like they're going to get that end result that they want for the Edinburgh crew. They're just inching further and further out every stroke they're taking. They look really composed. You can see from that overhead shot there that they're just gradually getting more and more space between them and St Andrews.
Yeah, I think composed is exactly the word, is in. While we watch those two crews make their way down the Henley Women's Regatta course, round up some results for you. Race 2:07 was a win for Oxford Brookes University Boat Club by 2.5 lengths over University of Rhode Island. Bath University Bristol Composite won race 2:08 by a length and a quarter over Glasgow. Newcastle University Boat Club beat Durham in an incredible race in a length and a quarter victory, and Oxford Brookes University Boat Club managed to qualify a second crew through to the semi-finals of the Academic Aspirational 8s with a length and the third win over Mount St Joseph's Academy. So as you watch that all-Scottish affair in race 2:11 make its way down the course, we're now looking at race 2:12 in the bottom left-hand side of your picture, and it is a contest between Newcastle University on the Berkshire station and Exeter University on the left-hand side of your screen on the Buckinghamshire station. Both crews being warned a little bit for their steering. As you can see, the blades are threatening to clash as they come down the course. Not sure who's in the wrong now. I think it's Exeter who are being warned to get back on their station.
You know, quite close between these two. Looks like Newcastle at the moment just has it. However, Exeter definitely pushing up through, and looks like they might just be about to get their bow ball ahead of Newcastle's, which they'll be very pleased with at this stage in the race.
Well, it'd be nice to see Exeter do well, actually. This has been a development project for them over the course of the year. Different combinations and different seat orders. The stern three in this crew are actually part of the crew that won a bronze in Champ Cox Fours at Bucks Regatta this year. So actually a bit of a step up in terms of quality here from the race before this, where we saw a bronze medalist in the intermediate category. Here we see a bronze medalist in the championship category. And of course, Newcastle need no introduction. One of the stalwarts of the university rowing scene, consistently producing crews of the highest calibre. And actually, Izzy, this is a pretty finely poised race as they come past our commentary booth.
It is. They're still very close to each other. Exeter just inching ahead of them, but Newcastle are still very much in this race. And actually, as they go past us, Newcastle seem just be putting an extra bit of power down, which seems just to be sneaking them slightly ahead of that Exeter crew from where I can see.
Yeah, in this race, so much as dictating this race, I don't think there's any real major player at the moment. They're both crews going for it as much as they can, and right now it comes down to essentially who's got the most mental fortitude, who's got the strongest mental capacity to think, right, okay, this race is in the balance, we're going to make our move now, we're going to take ownership of what's going on here on the course, and we're going to stamp our authority on the academic, aspirational, coxless fours even. Does look like Newcastle just drifting across a little bit to meet Exeter in the middle of the course.
Yeah, I know that there'll certainly be a slight advantage for the Newcastle crew, as they have a huge number of supporters on the side where the stalls are, just where they're coming up to now in the river. So it's always nice to have a huge volume of support, and I always find it makes a huge difference to the rowing, just to have somebody cheering you on. But we'll see in time.
Just seems to dissipate that pain, doesn't it, for a minute? And actually, We've gone to a split screen here with the Newcastle-Exeter contest happening on the top right-hand side of your screen. Newcastle just edging at the moment. The lead has changed hands a couple of times. But we're also looking now at race 2-1-3, our third heat of the Academic Aspirational Coxless Fours, quarter-final even. This one is Durham University Boat Club A on the Berkshire Station and the University of London Boat Club. And Durham have had a bit of a nightmare there. They rode across the boys, into the boys, and now University of London being warned. It did look like UL had come right across, pushing Durham off their station there, Izzy.
Yeah, not a good start at all compared to what we have been seeing today, but both crews seem to have recovered it quite well. We have seen far worse starts today.
Well, it's turning into a bit of a head race, this one. Not quite sure what Durham are doing on that side of the river, but UL won't mind at all. It just means they can lay down the dirty water, make things even more tricky for Durham, who, if they're not careful, they're going to row straight into the stern of the UL boat. They've moved back across now, back onto their station, but that is going to waste not only valuable time, but valuable effort zigzagging across what is already a notoriously tricky course.
Yeah, no, it's never good to start like that. It always knocks your confidence as well. So both crews will be looking to keep on setting the pace and just trying to relax down into it now.
Just keeping an eye on what's happening on the top right-hand corner of your screen, the Exeter-Newcastle race. Those two crews winding it up towards the finish line there. Maybe worth getting a big screen of that, because that looks like the race that is really happening here. Not an awful lot to choose between Newcastle and Exeter as they come down towards the line. You can see there on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, ladies and gentlemen, UL, after a little bit of interesting Durham steering, and probably on UL's side too, they've taken control of this quarter-final of the Academic Aspirational Coxless Fours and have clear water over Durham, just trying to really break that elastic that connects the two crews at this stage. But Newcastle and Exeter coming down towards the line. The lead looks like it's changed hands again. It looks like Exeter might have the advantage now. Yeah,
Exeter is certainly pushing off ahead compared to that Newcastle crew, which is surprising because Newcastle are so known for being such a strong crew and producing such top-class rowers. So it's surprising to see that finish. However, huge congratulations to Exeter for pushing away on them like that.
Well, there we go, Exeter. That was quite a remarkable second half of the race there. Very impressive from those girls to manage to overturn what was a third of a length deficit at about the halfway mark. So Exeter, that development project has paid dividends for them. They are progressing through, barring any umpire intervention, to the semi-final of the Academic Aspirational Coxless Fours. And so we move back up to the start. The Durham University of London race 2-1-3 is underway, but the University of London have that one in hand. So we're going to look at race 2-1-4. KSRV Nord on the Berkshire Station and My Old University Southampton on the Buckinghamshire Station. Nord, the crew from Holland, just being warned there as they came across into the middle of the river, perhaps disrupting the flow of Southampton, but I actually thought there Izzy Nord got the better of the two starts, even without the steering interference.
Yeah, I have to say though, neither of them were completely fabulous starts. They're both quite wobbly actually, but they seem to have picked it up all right now, and the Nord crew certainly look like they're going to be pushing ahead. And as we saw in the double earlier, the Nord crew are hugely strong, much more powerful than other crews racing today. So I would expect to see them coming out on top on this race. However, Southampton Uni should be putting in a good competition as well.
Well, slightly rugged style from Southampton, but what I love about Nord is that they provide comprehensive bios of all their athletes, and they provide us with their 2K PBs, which is sort of lost knowledge in rowing. No one likes to tell you how fast they go over 2,000 metres on an indoor rower, but some of these girls have got some pretty venerable scores. We've got a 7:07 in the boat, a 7:08, which in sort of, from my speak as a guy who used to row, that's a 6:07 and a 6:08, which is pretty rapid. A 7:03 for Anna Zeelenberg in the 3-seat. So some pretty impressive ergo scores, and it's looking like it's paying out for them because they've got all the power, all the poise and all the class as they come down past our commentary position here just in front of the barrier with about 2 lengths on Southampton.
Yeah, they certainly look like they're just gliding down the course, but they almost look like they're not putting pressure on, which is quite amazing to see that they've got that 2-length lead and they're just gliding down with not much particular struggle at all. With the Southampton crew just trying to keep up behind them, but I think they know that Nord crew is just so much stronger.
Well, I feel like I've hammered this point into the head of everybody who's been listening this weekend, but if you make the trip from Holland, it's not a massively long trip, but if you do make it, you must fancy yourself as capable of winning the event. And I'll be very interested to see this Dutch crew come up against some of the 4 runners earlier on, the likes of Edinburgh and Exeter. Just watching them come down, quite a relaxed style. I think they know they've got this race under control and they can just take the rate down a little bit and enjoy the paddle down the course. So we'll move back to the start for the start and the quarterfinals of the Championship Doubles Nottingham Rowing Club on the Berkshire Station on the left-hand side of your photo, just disappearing out of shot, up against Cambridge University Women's B Crew.
Oh, there was a slight wobble there from Nottingham, but they seem to have recovered it. Always the nerves at the top of the course, hardest bit, getting that started just right.
Yeah, Nottingham an excellent crew, but Cambridge with 2 notable names on board, Abigail Parker and Sally O'Brien. Parker was a former member of the Harvard